What's up, good people? We're here at the Jackson Municipal podcast series. Right now, we have Jonathan Cottrell in the building to talk about why you guys should vote for him for Ward 6. So, the first question we have for you is what life experience have shaped the way you lead and make decisions?
All right, first off, man, I'm Jonathan Cottrell. I'm running for City Council Ward 6. Uh, I done faced a lot of life changing things, man, especially working in this job. Uh, I lost a best friend and brother becoming a fireman. So he kind of encouraged that encouraged me to to fight harder, get up and go to work every day. That's one of the reasons why I'm still at the fire department today. He was the first person I ever worked on doing CPR when I got out of academy. So it really changed my life. Like seeing him die like that, it just changed everything in front of me. So it was kind of tough.
Okay, right on. What was the last time you had to admit you were wrong about something and how did you handle it?
That's a tough one, but we ain't always right. You know, if you ain't willing to learn and admit from your wrongs, but that's tough. It's tough on being wrong, man. It's been a while. I haven't made too many decisions. I've been kind of quiet. I hired a couple of bad people with the company, and I kind of hired family and friends. Kind of made me had a bad decision, so I had to come back and realize that sometimes hiring people or dealing with people is not always the best decision. So that comes to the relationship that we're going through right now in the city. So when you have situations where you go and hire a friend or a buddy, that ain't always the way to go. So that was a bad decision.
Okay, right on. Who in your life has had the biggest impact on your values and the way you see the world?
My mom and my kid. Uh, my mom, she had me at a young age. She didn't give up on me, and that led me to be a great father. I missed out on some scholarships going to college because I became a father at an early age, but I think I did good with that. My kid now, she's motivated me. She joined the military, moved to Alabama. She's in military school, so um, they both just been motivating me more to get up and you know get out here and walk, knock these doors, and meet with new people. So my mom and my daughter.
Right on, man. What's a challenge that you face that changed the way you approach problem solving?
Oh man. Just getting up every day, going to work, trying to manage time. That's my biggest problem. Time management, due to the fact of getting up, serving the people, getting off, going back to serve the people. But I'm learning to balance it all out because I had to make schedules. Like my guy say, hey man, put in your notes, put in your notes. So I'm learning more now to put everything down on paper and prioritize the things that's more important.
Okay. If you weren't running for office, what's something you'd still be doing to help your community?
Staying working at the fire department, getting up, driving the vans, taking the elderly to their doctor's appointments. I do that daily. I'm out here. I work actually 7 days a week in the community, from fighting fires to medical calls to driving the van, picking up people in wheelchairs, special needs, the elderly with no rides, grocery stores. I mean, that's basically it. I continue to devote my life to helping people.
Cool. What inspired you to run for city council, and what's the first issue you want to tackle if elected?
Well, I ran at 17 because I saw a need in the youth. And you fast forward to today, we're still in the same need to help get the kids off the street, uh, and help get them something to do. So this go around kind of inspired me because I see that nobody really care about the elderly in our neighborhoods no more. The blight, the grass growing up high. I'm going facing the same issues that everybody else in the community. So I just get up every day. I'm tired of just seeing the roads raggedy, the grass taller than me, and my parents, my grandparents, they house getting broken into. My mom house been shot into. So it's time for change, and I can't. I don't want to leave Jackson, so I'm gonna be that change in Jackson.
Cool. If you had to make tough budget decisions, how would you prioritize spending to make sure the people of Jackson get the services they need?
It's called balance. That's one of our biggest issues. The money not being spread across Jackson equally. It's being heavily put in areas that really just don't need the money like everywhere else. So we got to sit down and work together as a council and let's vote money across the city versus one area. So the first thing you gotta do is get in and study what this $400 million budget is gonna go in this next year coming, and see how can we work together to spread it out towards 7, 6, 5, 4. That's the biggest issue right now. South Jackson is a city within itself, so we have to put some money back in South Jackson.
Cool. How will you stay connected with the community and make sure people feel heard even after election season is over?
Well, you gotta stay engaged. We can do some town halls. The internet, social media now is really beginning to change. A lot of more elderly people getting on social media. So I also start getting with some of the local nonprofit groups and have them at the town hall so we can see what their needs to keep them pushing forward in the community on how the cleanups, the groups that go out and help tutor kids. So we had to have them at the meeting as well so we can keep them engaged so they won't stop what they already been doing in the community.
What's your plan to bring more jobs and businesses to Jackson, and how will you support the ones already here?
We got to sit at the table with all the business owners that's here first. You know, before we can even get new business, we need to sit down with the ones that's here and try to offer them incentives to stay here. Because if they leave, then we have to start over. So that way we can get with them to see what we need to bring in new businesses for us. The blight is a big area, big problem in the area. So we had to sit down and try to give out better tax breaks because we can't bring people in here and expect them to bring their money when the city looking like it's looking right now.
What do you think is the biggest challenge when it comes to crime and infrastructure in Jackson, and how do you plan to be a part of the solution?
On the crime, the biggest challenge is kids. We don't have no parks in Jackson, barely. I think we made one or two. We have a low morale of police officers, the fire department. I think our city government needs to uh, be more lifted with trying to balance out this budget. If we don't get out and clean up the community, then the kids got to see everything on the way to school the same and look at it the same way we did growing up. So we gonna have to just tackle getting these kids out the street, and with all the schools closing, that's making it even worse. So we gotta figure out a way to get rid of some of these empty buildings and some of these abandoned houses, so we can kind of cut back on the crime.
Right on. What specific policies or ordinances do you plan to introduce or advocate for that will directly benefit the residents of Jackson, and how do you plan to gain support for them?
Well, the biggest positive I would probably implement right now would be going after some of these out of town investors with some of these properties that have grown up. So if we can just find out a way to get some money in the budget to where we can tear them down and place a levy on their properties and make them have to pay for it in order to come back to even gain access to their properties, I would start by putting that in play first because I think that's our biggest issue is trying to let people know you're not gonna just come in Jackson and buy up Jackson and then leave it like it's looking. So we need to put something in place to make the people understand that they responsible for their own properties and not Jackson.
With the city's budget constraints, how do you plan to ensure that resources are allocated effectively while maintaining essential services and addressing community needs?
Well, I mean, you got to look at how good Fondren look Eastover in the district. So we need to go over there in their community and see what are they doing differently than what we're doing ourselves. Because I think over there is nice. Our south is terrible. So we need to see what are they doing to bring in the businesses over there, or how they keeping it clean. If we gotta outsource some of the yard cutting businesses, bring in small businesses to keep it clean. We got to do something because right now the city has a low public work employees, a low number of employees. So if we can't get them to do it, we got to do it ourselves.
What strategies will you implement to ensure transparency in your decision making during your term as city council?
Working with others, seeing what we all need. That's gonna be the biggest strategy for me because right now we watch all the city council meet. They going back and forth, back and forth. So I would learn to work well with others and see what uh, that's needed across. Like I said again earlier, if we don't work with each other on the council for the next 4 years, we're gonna be in the same place for another 4 years. So we're gonna have to strategize, bringing money to each area, spreading it out. If we gotta do an area at a time, but also, I was thinking of a way that we can, if they say we have a low number in public work people, if we got 20 people, if you take 20 people and put them at Grove Park today and let them clean up Grove Park, it take at least an hour or two to clean that park up with 20 employees, with 20 yards being cut at the same time. So we do that in a day or a week, then move on to the next and move on to the next park across the city. That way, once we get all that clean, we spread them back out. Kind of like how the Mexicans do. You get all the Mexicans on one roof, they done in an hour. But if you got one or two up there, it take them a week. So we need to just figure out how to utilize what we have and work with what we have until we can get better.
What is your vision for economic growth and job creation in Jackson?
Like I say, with being a business owner, the only way we can just get our economic growth back up, we got to see what can we do to get businesses back to Jackson. We used to have 3 to 4 grocery stores in South Jackson. They all left. Everybody says the crime. I just don't see the crime just being the biggest issue of having a grocery store. So again, we gonna have to get and go to the next door to Madison, Byram, and see what they're doing, what kind of incentives they offering to get the businesses back. We gotta have a plan, and sometimes you gotta go ask. If you ain't willing to learn or ask questions or find more resources on how to get it back, then we're gonna be in the same boat next year.
How do you plan to address key issues such as crime reduction, infrastructure improvements, and overall public safety to enhance the quality of life for residents in Ward 6?
I mean, again, like I said, I've been walking and knocking on doors and speaking with people. We all having the same issues. Everybody's worried about the rentals in the neighborhood, on how the grass is, on how the blight look, how everything is changed in the development in the ward. In order to ensure that, we got to see, I said again, it's the budget. We got to see what can we do with this $400 million to put a lot of it in cleaning up Jackson and penalizing the business owners, or penalize not the business owner but the out of town investors that own these properties that's being left like this. Same way they tore down the Oreo, what is it, Oreo Hotel or something. We need to do the same thing. Go tear it down, give them a bill, and make them be responsible for it. I think that would make a lot of our people satisfied to just clean up the area because our property value is going down, and we moving right next door to Byron, Madison, and Rankin County. So I think we need to start with cleaning up our city.
All right, is it anything that you want to leave the people with to close out?
Yeah, April 1st, vote for Jonathan Cottrell, City Council Ward 6. You want a young guy that's energetic, hard worker, that can continue to work well. I don't think that we're in a bad place, but I think we need to continue where we left off with the guys that's doing. I'm not going to point no fingers. I'm not going to play the blame game, but I can assure you that I will give you 100% work, and I will work every day for you. I'm one phone call away.
I appreciate you for coming on. Thank you much.